Chapter 131 Upgrading Puppet. In the hidden chamber Ethercore room. After wandering around the Empire for an entire week, he returned to the castle. Now, let's at the crystal credits. Maximus manipulated the tiny soul within the Ethercore and entered the code for the new currency. It's easy. Adding a new currency value was not that difficult. Now reprogram. After the new currency was integrated, he reprogrammed the entire system to align with the overall structure of the banking system. Done, Maximus nodded, satisfied with his work. Looking at the outdated Ethercore, he sighed. I didn't notice that my AI program was too weak, Maximus muttered to himself. Considering his experience in creating Wanderer, looking at the AI he had made earlier was akin to looking at a child's painting. Even the Colosseum runic program progress is very slow. Previously, it had taken just over a week to create it from scratch, progressing from Tier 1 to Tier 6. Now, over a year had passed and only Tier 7 was complete. As for Tier 8, even with 10 years given, it might still remain unfinished. Sigh, it's really outdated. Previously, he only had hundreds of millions of magic crystals. So he can only settle with these Tier 3 items. Even the formation was only Tier 3, not befitting his status as a core student. Now he had over 1 billion magic crystals, but given that he couldn't go back personally to the Cursed Continent in a short time, it was useless. Just wait until I acquire the teleportation quota, Maximus muttered. A week later, the once-in-a-millennium auction would take place, featuring the sale of teleportation quotas. After he bought the teleportation quota, maneuvering around his empire would be more easy. Time to return. Seeing that everything was in order, he returned his consciousness to the Arcane Continent. In the city of Arcana? It's truly comfortable to be on your own body, Maximus muttered in satisfaction. Roaming around his empire for a week had been a new experience. However, being within a puppet body was uncomfortable. Noticing the absence of his wives and children, he left a note and made his way to the teleportation array in the city. Take me to Silverleaf Domain, Silverleaf Floating City. Of course, sir. Please wait a few minutes, the attendant said. After a brief wait, Maximus finally stepped onto the teleportation array and was transported to Silverleaf Floating City. The mana here is quite thin. Disregarding the shift in mana density, he swiftly arrived at his Jewel Crown Pavilion, a shop managed by his puppet-slash-fake teacher, Edward. Good day, host, Edward greeted him. How's the shop? It's running smoothly. With the shop's reputation, as long as the potions were added in inventory, it will be quickly sold out. At present, the shop's profits exceed 500 million magic crystals, after deducting all the EGCC taxes and material expenses, Edward explained. Although Maximus purchased the potions through the system, he still needed to disguise their source. For the origin of the materials, he used the EGCC. As for the source of the potion production, he attributed it to Edward. It's good. Any concerns? Yes, many people are complaining that there are too few options available. Moreover, many individuals are interested in joining the shop. That's the matter. I'm here to discuss potion quantities. As for people joining the shop, Maximus paused, pondering for a moment. Why not hire them? However, there's the issue of shop confidentiality. Edward was concerned that this might raise suspicions. In that case, we can sign a confidentiality and a lifetime contract. But who would be willing to join under such strict terms? Edward inquired. Wouldn't that be akin to enslaving themselves? It's good if they join, if not, that's fine too. It's not like we're lacking in personnel. Maximus' intention for hiring these individuals was to avoid wasting the potion materials that were purchased as a disguise. Additionally, it could help train these wild alchemists, forming a team of potion-producing alchemists for the future. As mass-producing potions like in a factory was currently unattainable. It required the cooperation of a Tier 9 entity or a treasure. After all, alchemy involved bending the laws, something low-tier beings couldn't accomplish. Then I will post these requirements and see if anyone joins. That's a good idea. But before that, it's time to upgrade. Upgrade? Me? Edward asked, not expecting Maximus to consider upgrading him. Upgrading a puppet was more expensive than purchasing a new one, so he couldn't help but be touched. Though he was a puppet, he possessed self-awareness akin to a Tier 9 treasure. This is also why his type of puppet was the most expensive in the Myriad World Mall. There was no need to worry about the danger of searching for world coordinates. The gestation of his spirit would occur in the world he was initially bought into, making him more compatible with the world. That's right. Go ahead and transfer me the money you've earned in the past 3 months. All right. +1, 567, 234, 573 low magic crystals. Seeing the billion crystals transferred to him at once, a smile crept onto his face. System, convert. Magic crystal points, 2,378,223,950. I'm truly wealthy. Maximus couldn't help but feel a surge of confidence at his wealth. Prior to the trial, he had over 1 billion magic crystals. Knowledge was inexpensive, so he still had a substantial amount after the trial. Plus the 200 million magic crystal he just converted in his empire. His wealth reached over 2 billion. Now, let's begin, Maximus muttered. He commenced the process of sifting through various materials required to upgrade a puppet to its utmost potential. Here, give it a try first. Let me know if it ceases to function. Understood, host. Soon, the two of them collaborated, consuming a multitude of heaven-defying resources like it did not cost money. A week had passed. After spending 1 billion magic crystals and unrelenting effort, Edward was finally upgraded from a Tier 6 puppet to a low Tier 7 puppet. It had only cost 36 million magic crystals to buy Edward previously. However, upgrading Edward to just low Tier 7 already cost 1 billion. If he wanted to upgrade Edward to top Tier 7 puppet, it would probably cost 3 to 5 billion. But feeling Edward's strength and changes, he nodded in satisfaction. How do you feel? I feel omnipotent. Edward struggled to find words to describe his sensation, settling on this one. Tier 7 was a fusion of spirit and body, and as a puppet, he felt like a genuine person, capable of commanding the world. His exceptional control was such that he could maintain this state as if nothing had occurred. Otherwise, his host, Maximus, would have been disintegrated by his mere presence. How omnipotent? It's because of the domain I've gained. What does your domain do? Maximus became curious. Domains came in various types, contingent on one's foundation. Some allowed control over every molecule within the domain, while others enabled the creation of something from nothing. However, standing across from Edward, Maximus felt no alteration, piquing his curiosity. It's an absolute puppet domain. In my domain, nothing can be concealed, your thoughts, your movements, your every blood vest. With all this information, I can manipulate them like puppets, without them even knowing. That's astonishing. They delved further into Edward's changes and even demonstrated a few aspects. Now that your advancement is complete, let's talk about our potion business. Should we begin selling Tier 6 potions? No, it's a bit premature. We need a bit of buffer time. At present, tripling the amount of potion for sale should suffice. Furthermore, we can expand by adding Tier 1 to Tier 4 potions for greater variety. That sounds fine, Edward agreed. Maximus then bought a multitude of potions ranging from Tier 1 to Tier 5, using all 300 million magic crystals. As for the remaining billion, that will be some use later. Here's the inventory. You can recruit people according to your preferences. Just make sure about their loyalty and the contract. I understand, host, Edward nodded respectfully. Then I entrust everything to you. With reassurance that all was in order, Maximus returned to the Origin Domain. Origin Domain, City of Arcana. As he was already a student of the Institute, he could directly teleport to the City of Arcana. Otherwise, he would have to take another teleportation array. I should make it just in time for the auction. Maximus mused, glancing at the countdown for the auction. Origin Relic Pavilion. Millennium Auction, 00D, 10H, 12M. I still have time, Maximus breathed a sigh of relief. He hadn't anticipated that Edward's upgrade would take an entire week to complete, nearly causing him to miss the auction. Arriving at the venue, he approached one of the managers. Hello, sir. How can I assist you? A respectable man exuding the strength of a Tier 8 mage greeted him. While others might not have been aware of Maximus' promotion to a core student. But as a top-tier guild, the Origin Relic Pavilion still knew a little. I'd like to participate in the auction. I see, please follow me. The man's eyes brightened with anticipation. After they reached a room, Maximus took out an item he had bought in the system for 1 billion magic crystals. Here, I would like to auction this. This? Could it be? Chapter 132 before the auction start. The next day, in the city of Arcana, at Maximus Manor. "How is my outfit, husband?" Isabella asked, twirling to show off her figure. "It's beautiful," Maximus smiled wryly. After consigning his item at the Origin Relic Pavilion, he told his wives about the auction. After that, the rest is history, as they walked back and forth, changing their outfits for hours. "Anyway, we'll be in a private room, so it doesn't matter what you wear." "No, this is for my husband's face." "How about this dress?" Erica walked in and presented her dress. It's hot and beautiful." "How about me?" Hazel asked in turn. "That's good, beautiful." "Anyway, hurry up, there is less than an hour left before the event." Sure. The wives agreed as they hastened their progress in choosing what to wear. While they were busy, the sound of a vehicle stopping came from outside. "It should be the kids," Maximus muttered. "I'll go get them for a while." After going outside, he saw his children eagerly coming out of the vehicle. "Dad! Daddy! Father!" When they saw him, they rushed to hug him. After all, they hadn't seen each other for 2 weeks, so the kids somewhat missed him. Fortunately, they were busy with school, so they didn't complain much. "How was school today?" Maximus asked, catching up with Lila, who jumped to him first. "It's fun as always." "That's good, as long as you're happy." "What about you?" Maximus then turned to his kids, asking about their day. He asked if there were any problems or interesting things they had encountered as they came inside. "What are they doing? Are you going out or something?" Lily asked, seeing her mother's busy changing with clothes all over the floor. "That's right, we'll be going to an auction," Maximus reminded her. "An auction? Is that the one where rich people spend their money to fight for treasure?" Max asked eagerly. Yes, that's right." "Where did you learn that?" "Our classmate is also talking about an auction or something." Max began to tell about the gossip of their classmate. Although the auction this time is only the once millennium one, it's still famous across the circle. Many people without sufficient strength or wealth equivalent to Tier 8 are not even qualified to attend this event. "That's it, then you should hurry up and dress up." "Yeah." The girls began to scramble and started to dress up. "Why dress up?" "But we're already dressed?" Sam asked ignorantly. "Oh, you don't have to. Your outfit is fine. Just wait for your sisters," Maximus said. "You will experience what dressing up is soon." Liam muttered as he sat on the sofa waiting. Liam had once experienced this carnival with his father. While his mother and sister dressed up, they asked endlessly if this was all right or if that was more beautiful. "It's fine if that's it," but even after he said all the compliments he could think of, it was useless as they continued to pick and wear different outfits. "Just wake me up, brother," Neo said to Liam as he slumped onto the sofa. "As for wearing a different outfit or something like that." "What is that?" Anyway, his clothes had an automatic cleaning function. As for sweat and dirt, they were already cleaned up after class. Soon, almost an hour passed, and there were only a few minutes left until the auction. You should hurry a little." "There are only a few minutes until the auction," Maximus reminded. "It's all right, husband. We'll finish in just a few seconds." "That's right, Dad. This is to make you not lose face for your daughters." Fine, you can take your time." Maximus sighed. Anyway, the one he had an eye on was not going to be sold in the first lot. "Done. We're finished changing, Father." This is also beautiful. Should I wear this?" "No, we don't have time. Just wear that later." Soon, they finished one by one, still not satisfied with their outfits. But seeing that there was no time left, they just settled with their outfits with a sigh. Finally finished. Liam sighed, mentally tired of his mother's and sister's constant questioning. Looking at his brother who was either sleeping or playing, Liam sighed again. When will his brothers mature and share this burden with him? "Neo, wake up." "We're leaving," Liam shook Neo. "Huh? Are we going to school?" Neo looked dazedly. "No, we're going to the auction with Father." "Oh, right." Neo nodded, remembering, as he slowly stood up, stretching. Soon, they got ready and boarded the vehicle that Maximus had chartered to go to the auction venue. In the Origin Relic Pavilion auction hall. "Good morning, sir. Do you have an invitation?" This auction is by invitation only, which is why it is so highly sought after. "Yes, here." Maximus took out an invitation token. He had received it earlier when he consigned his item. This? A VIP1 token? The attendant was shocked. The ranking of VIP in the Origin Relic Pavilion is the same as the EGCC, ranging from VIP 9 to VIP 1. Seeing the highest ranking token in his hand, the attendant trembled, not knowing what to do. Here you are, Sir Maximus. The manager greeted Maximus enthusiastically. Apparently, he had been waiting for Maximus for a while. Come. I'll guide you to your room, the manager said respectfully. It was a rare sight to see a Tier 8 powerhouse treat a Tier 4 individual with such respect. Very well. Soon, they arrived at one of the most luxurious private rooms overlooking the entire place. Please let me know if you need anything else, the manager bowed, leaving the family in the room. Wow, we have our own place. Sam exclaimed. Look, there is food over there. Luke said to his brother. Can we eat it, Dad? Sam asked for permission. Yes. You can do whatever you want, Maximus smiled, remembering that they still hadn't eaten. Yay! Come on, Neo, let's eat. Sam and Luke dragged the always lazy Neo. We're really rich. Max's eyes glittered. Previously, Ella had talked a lot about this auction, even suggesting taking him through the auction with her sister. But how could he? According to his brother Liam, this was called being taken care of, and it's not manly and will make him soft. How could he agree to such a thing? So he had refused Ella's invitation that they hadn't talked to this day. But looking at the luxurious room they were in, Max sighed in relief. They were not as poor as he thought. Looking through the glass, Max squinted his eyes to find someone. You can't find Ella below. Liam suddenly appeared behind him. What? Who said I'm looking for that witch? Max blushed, not admitting to anything. Here I was, thinking of telling you where Ella is, Liam sneered at Max. Max's state was familiar to him, after all, he had been there himself. Until now, Amara and he were still chatting through intercontinental tokens. It might seem that they were precocious, as they were still too young for such adult matters. But despite Liam's age of 7, he already looked like a 12-year-old kid. The pure Tier 9 mana in the Origin domain was truly nourishing. This phenomenon was not rare in mana-rich areas. Children born here could grow to the size of a 3-year-old child in a few months. As for the sons and daughters of Tier 9 individuals, there was a rumor that they could grow to the size of a 3-year-old in just a few hours. Do you know where Ella is? I thought you weren't interested in finding that witch? Oh. I'm just asking. I asked Father, and he said they are in the room next to us, Liam said. Maximus is a core student and his status is comparable to Tier 9, so asking private questions to the manager was not difficult. Really? Yes. Max got excited, thinking about how to get to the room next to them. However, while they were talking, the auctioneer came in. Hello, welcome to the Origin Relic Pavilion. It's Miss Venice. My goddess has appeared. So beautiful. Maximus also noticed the commotion and looked at the auctioneer. It's really beautiful, Maximus unconsciously murmured. Really, husband? Isabella asked, squinting her eyes. Humph, a beast who can't be satisfied, Isabella uttered in dissatisfaction. How could I? I still love my most beautiful wives the most. Maximus swore and hugged and kissed them. Humph, better finish what's on your plate first, Isabella nodded. It had nearly been a year since they had become husband and wife, but Isabella was still not pregnant. His other wives also hadn't become pregnant for a long time. Maximus was also worried about this. But based on the system scan, everything was fine and there were no problems. I should have them checked by a professional, Maximus thought. Although the system was reliable, it wasn't omnipotent. Maybe there was really a problem, but it wasn't harmful enough to be detected by the system. I'm Venice, the auctioneer for today. Without further ado, let's have the first item. Chapter 133 Auction Start. The first item for this lot is... Venice set the atmosphere as she drew the curtains. This is a looming bird crown, a Tier 9 growth treasure that can complement your realm. It's capable of providing protection against both physical and spiritual attacks. As they gazed at the crown shining within a sealed container, emitting a solemn yet domineering aura, the audience couldn't help but gasp. A Tier 9 growth treasure. What a generous first item. I must obtain this. Treasures are categorized based on their types: normal, growth, true, and initiate. A normal treasure is one that you can utilize according to your tier. For example, if you're at Tier 1, you can only use normal Tier 1 treasures. Growth treasures are items that can evolve alongside your realm's progression, provided you supply the necessary materials for their advancement. True treasures are those that you can use regardless of your tier. For instance, Maximus Core Student Token is a Tier 9 treasure capable of defense, teleportation, and various auxiliary functions. Initiate treasures are naturally born entities that automatically seek out and bond with their hosts. This is also the strongest type of treasure that can only be sought not found. Regarding the distinction between a Tier 9 growth treasure and an ordinary growth treasure, the former is already at Tier 9, eliminating the need for cumbersome upgrades. While it will adjust in accordance with your tier, it will still possess crushing strength within that tier. The starting price is 1 billion high-grade magic crystals. The bidding begins. Meanwhile, in Maximus' private room. 1 billion high-grade magic crystals? His wives were shocked by such a price. This is equivalent to 10 trillion low-grade magic crystals, a sum they can't even fathom. This Maximus was also taken aback by the price. 1.1 billion. Before he could finish his thought, the first bid was placed. 1.2 billion. 1.3 billion. 1.5 billion. 1.6 billion. 2 billion. Damn. Is this inflating the prices? The people below complained. Although most of the people in the auction were Tier 8, they only possessed tens of billions in high-grade crystals and assets. Huh? A serene voice sounded as if she had heard someone complain. Nothing. The one who complained immediately apologized. They had just realized that the bidder was in a VIP room. This indicated that the bidder was either incredibly wealthy or supremely powerful. Humph. Due to this incident, silence fell and no one made further bids. Is there no one else willing to bid? Venice queried. Going once? Going twice? 2.1 billion. A voice shattered the silence. Who's so bold as to bid against the VIP? The people below whispered. Hey, it's another VIP. 2.5 billion. 3 billion. Wow, they're battling with money, Dad. Lila arrived with food, joining Maximus. It's because they're wealthy, Maximus sighed. Aren't we wealthy too? Lila asked, considering that whatever they desired, their father would buy for them. Yes, we should be. Maximus wasn't entirely sure. Although he had also consigned an item, it was worth only millions of high-grade crystals at most. Yet if he utilized his core student privilege, the value would increase 1,000-fold, resulting in billions of high-grade crystals and assets. That's great, we're rich! Lila exclaimed joyfully, munching on the snack in her hand. I want that too, Daddy. Lila gazed at him with puppy eyes. How about you choose something else later? Despite affording such items, he needed funds to purchase a teleportation quota later on. Oh, then I'll wait. Lila wasn't discontent, there would still be opportunities later. Soon, the bids surpassed 10 billion. Who's bidding? So wealthy? Maximus mused. Typically, a Tier 9 growth treasure was valued at only 7 to 8 billion high-grade crystals. 13.3 billion. The voice rang out. Maximus heard another bid, yet after a few seconds, no additional voice followed. Is there no one else bidding? Going once? Going twice? Sold to VIP 7. Venice proclaimed joyfully. Thank you, dear guest, for enlivening the beginning of the auction. Venice bowed. Now, onto our next item. The subsequent item was a unique treasure, ranked from Tier 7 to 8, which didn't capture much of Maximus' interest. However, his wives and children were still excited, watching each of them. This also opened up the world for them, seeing many treasures for sale. Next up is the love-themed dress set by Mr. Lauren. Venice unveiled an entire wardrobe of dresses, with designs suitable for children to adults. It's Mr. Lauren. Lucky, I stumbled upon Mr. Lauren's masterpiece dress set. The people below scrambled as they laid eyes on the rack of dresses. Wow! The girls in Maximus' room also erupted with excitement. There are so many beautiful dresses. Daddy, I want that. Lila declared firmly. Husband Irene coquettishly added, using their daughter as leverage. Daddy Asira chimed in, dutifully supporting her mother's request. Mommy, I'd also like that. Serene contributed. Husband, as our daughter said. Angeline looked at him pitifully. His wives knew about one of Maximus' core student privileges, which multiplied his money by 1,000 times. Moreover, their husband was confident about buying teleportation quotas that cost billions of high-grade crystals. Certainly, he could afford to indulge them with some dresses worth millions of high-grade crystals. Hey, who made me love you? Maximus smiled, agreeing. Yay! I love you, husband. They smiled happily and showered him with compliments. The starting price is 100,000 high-grade crystals. Venus announced. 200,000. 250,000. Poor things, 1 million. Heh, don't flaunt your dirty money, 1.5 million. The bidding was more intense than in the first lot. After all, the first item cost billions, which many couldn't afford. 10 million, the VIP 7 who won the first lot said. The auction hall fell silent suddenly. After all, Mr. Lauren's love-themed dress set was only tier 6. If it weren't for the design and the famous name of Mr. Lauren, it wouldn't even be sold for 10,000 high-grade magic crystals. In other words, the design was so astounding that it propelled the initial bid to 100,000. Crazy, they thought. After all, who in their right mind would spend 10 million on something that costs hundreds of thousands? Is there no one else bidding? Going once? Hurry, Daddy. Someone's about to snatch it away from us. Lila said as she shook him. The other girls also looked at him eagerly. All right, all right. Going twice. 11 million, Maximus placed his bid. Anyway, there's a 99.9% discount. 12 million, the VIP 7 hastily responded. 15 million, Maximus was nonchalant and bid again. 20 million. The VIP 7 seemed hurried as her bid escalated. 30 million. Maximus, no longer holding back, increased it by another 10 million. The individual in VIP 7 clenched her teeth and refrained from bidding further. Who is this person? So insane? She muttered. The individual in VIP 7 was Denise, Ella's aunt, whom Max was searching for earlier. Auntie, hurry and bid, they'll steal the dresses from us. Ella herit. No. Your grandfather would scold me if he knew we were spending money indiscriminately on useless things, Denise sighed. What useless things? It's a beautiful things. Ella retorted. But we already bought many things earlier, Denise sighed, realizing their pocket money was running low. I don't care, I want that. Don't you have money? Why don't you bid? Oh, no. It's for my dowry, Ella said shyly. What dowry? You're just a kid, what are you thinking? Denise was shocked by Ella's words. I don't care, old hag. Ella was too embarrassed to argue further. Tell me, whose pig are you seeing? Denise didn't mind Ella's words as she questioned her. I won't tell you. While they were arguing, the bidding time finished and Maximus won the dress set. However, even though the bidding had stopped, the shock it caused remained. Crazy. The world is truly crazy, spending 30 million just for some tier 6 dress. Hey, stupid people are really rich. Sigh, I wish I were stupid and rich too. Although they could still afford to bid, spending tens of millions on a dress set worth at most a few million was absurd. Although the dress set was undeniably beautiful, it wasn't worth so much money. Wow! We won! Lila exclaimed. Daddy! I love you so much! Lily also grew affectionate, hugging his arms. While she appeared less active earlier, it was because her eyes couldn't leave the dress set. With over 1,000 dresses in the set, there were more than enough for their mothers and daughters. Daddy Lydia, who was usually shy, also regarded him with admiration. As for the other two children, Serene and Syra, they were enveloped in their mother's embraces due to their excitement. Seeing all of this, Maximus felt that it was worth it. Anyway, with various discounts, it only cost him 300 million low-grade crystals, which was merely half of his monthly income. Unfortunately, the guild discount couldn't be applied. Otherwise, it would have provided an additional 70% discount. Chapter 134 Buying Frenzy. The following auction items were somewhat boring, causing his children to return to their meals. The next item is a piece of abyss stone, Venice said, taking out a tightly sealed stone containing intense dark energy. Abyss stone? Is this still on the auction block? What is abyss stone? Most people here are Tier 8 powerhouses that lived for hundreds of millions of years. So they still know the significance of the abyss. It was some type of plane similar to the Ethereum realm that was encroaching upon them. Abyss stone is a stone that can be found in the abyss. Abyss stone is mainly used to assist in refining your will. Moreover, abyss stone also has many research purposes, Venice explained. Amazing, abyss stone still has this use. It should be the abyssal energy that can refine the will.
I must get this.
Unfortunately, it's only the size of a fist.
It's barely enough.
The people below murmured excitedly. You know the celestial ascent path that can temper the will can only work until Tier 7. After you pass Tier 7 and reach Tier 8, you will be on your own. I wonder how much this will be sold for, Maximus thought. This abyss stone is what he had consigned. These abyss stones are Tier 8 materials that can only be found in the abyss. He read that because Ethereum realm and abyss are quite close to each other. Some materials sometimes pass through and land on the cursed continent. Of course, he bought the abyss stone in the system mall, which cost 1 billion low magic crystals per fist-sized stone. The first bid is 1 million high-grade crystals, Venice said. Normally, Tier 8 materials only cost about 10 to 100,000 high-grade crystals. But as abyss stone is a rare material that can be used to refine the will, it shot up in value, almost catching up to a normal Tier 8 treasure with just the initial bid. 1.1 million. 1.5 million. 1.8 million. 2 million. Is that the thing you've been telling us about, husband? Erica asked, noticing Maximus smiling each time the price rose. Yes, I found this when I was traveling through the cursed continent a few years ago.
Wow, where did you find this, Daddy? Can we find more?
Lila asked. No more, I was lucky to even find this.
Oh, pity.
Lila said with melancholy. She would like her father to have more money to afford more clothes and food for them. Don't worry, after you grow up, you can also find treasures on your own, Maximus patted her head and said. Really? Yes, Lila will become the most powerful treasure hunter. Then Lila will be able to take care of me by then, Maximus smiled. Maximus didn't notice, but Lila had grown to 5 years old, and now she looked like a 10-year-old kid. Time really passes. A few years ago, they were still babies that he could easily carry. Now they've grown up so fast that he was quite reluctant. I will definitely take care of Daddy, Lila said seriously as she hugged him. Fortunately, they didn't change much and they are still his lovely little padded jacket. While they were talking, the abyss stone reached 30.3 million. 30.4 million. 30.5 million. 30.8 million. 35 million, one of the VIP no. 235 finally bid. Oh, all the good things are snapped up by the VIPs. Sigh, it's really nice to have money. The people below had already given up. As soon as one of the VIPs spoke, it was already a sure thing. 40 million, another VIP no. 823 bid. 45 million VIP no. 235. 50 million VIP no. 823. 60 million. Beep no. 235. It's yours, VIP no. 823 gave up. For these VIPs, the function of strengthening their will was not as important as they had many resources for it. However, the research value was somewhat crucial to them. After all, who knows when the abyss will finally land in the Ethereum realm? Nevertheless, the abyss stone is only a tier 8 material, so bidding more is not worth it. Is there no one else to bid? Going once? Going twice? Sold to VIP no. 235. 60 million. Maximus muttered excitedly. That was equivalent to 60 billion when he used his 99.9% discount. This discount was really a bug, it was literally giving core students unlimited money. Daddy, it's only 60 million. It's not enough to buy clothes, Lila sighed. Maximus was stumped by Lila's words. It's already a lot, sister, Lily said to Lila. Really? But it's only 60 million and our clothes cost 30 million. 60 million is really not enough for the extravagance of Maximus' children and wives. Dad has a big discount, so 60 million is already worth 60 billion.
What? That's 1,000 times.
Lila lit up, looking at Maximus. Dad is a rich man, Lily's eyes nodded. Daddy, will you buy me other things later? Please, Alila said coquettishly.
What do you want?
Maximus smiled. For him, money is just a number that he can make whenever he needs it. So, his spending with his family is without any stinginess. Who knows if some pig will attract his wives or children with money? Once they know that his wives and children are bottomless pits, they would probably run faster than he could find them.
I don't know.
I'll watch the auction and tell you later. All right, just tell me, Maximus smiled. Soon, the auction kept going. With his permission, his children and his wives became more focused, looking at all the interesting things at the auction. After they found what they liked, they approached him like lovely angels.
Dad, I like this one. Can you buy it for me?
Lily said, pinching his back.
Just bid for it yourself. Husband, look at that.
It should be useful when I cook, Erica said, looking at the Tier 8 knife growth treasure.
Buy.
Husband, we want that melodic battle dancer set, Luna said, pinching his arm. Yes, husband, how about we show you how we use it later, Livia followed, looking at Maximus shyly.
Buy.
Husband, that ruler seems interesting. I just needed to teach our children, Hazel said. Hazel had been following the path of a teacher, so the Tier 8 ruler growth treasure with various functions was just right.
Buy. Dad.
That robot collection of Mr. Minsky, Luke, and I have been looking for that thing, Sam said straightforwardly. Yes, I've been dreaming about that thing, Luke said, his attention fixed on the robot collection.
Buy.
Sons were really not a thing, they didn't even coax him. Fortunately, he was a loving father. Husband, did you say you wanted some personalized clothes? Angeline asked, looking at him knowingly. Maximus understood, glancing at the weaving alchemist set in the auction.
Buy.
That sword is good, husband, how about my gift? Isabella asked as she tugged his clothes.
Buy.
Husband, Irene was more straightforward, giving him a peck without saying anything. Seeing that it was a herbalist set, he knew that Irene wanted it.
Buy.
Husband, I'll agree to any position you want, Rose said, looking at the domineering armor and weapons set.
Buy.
Maximus got excited all of a sudden.
Daddy, look.
It's a food printer.
I can eat whatever I want.
Lila jumped to him excitedly. The food printer in the auction was a Tier 8 true alchemy treasure that could create food out of thin air.
Buy. Dad. I also want the food printer.
Max shouted. But there's only one. Hee, this one is mine, Lila said proudly.
Oh.
Max sighed. You can look later, maybe there are other things that you fancy, Maximus said. Max sat down, looking intently at the next auction item so as not to be preempted by them. Dad, can you buy me that? Nathan asked him silently. Nathan had grown into a silent man, always looking serious. So Maximus didn't think much about what Nathan was going to buy and let him bid for himself. Daddy, can this baby also buy things? Serene said to him sweetly. Yes, of course, anything that my baby wants. Then I want that flower, Daddy, Serene said, looking at the cute flower pet. It seemed that his other children still didn't have any pets.
Sure.
Moi, Serene smiled happily and kissed him. Daddy, can you buy me that pitiful wolf? Cry asked. Looking at the wolf that resembled a noble Fenrir, scaled down and very cute.
Buy. Huh? Dad, buy me that thing.
Neo, who was still in a daze, suddenly became energetic.
What is that?
Maximus thought as he looked at the auction. What Maximus saw was a ball of white fur, sleeping lazily regardless of all the commotion happening around it.
Why do you want that?
Oh, it seems comfortable to sleep through, Neo also didn't know, he just felt connected to it for some reason. All right, buy, Maximus said, shaking his head. Lazy son plus a lazy pet, he didn't know what would happen to Neo in the future. Father, I want that thing, Liam whispered, blushing. But that's for girls? Maximus looked at Liam puzzled. The thing that Liam wanted was a beautiful necklace suitable for a girl. Liam didn't dare to say anything. Liam knew that once his father got the teleportation quota, he could go back to the cursed continent whenever he wanted. More importantly, he could meet Amara. He thought of buying her some gifts after not meeting each other for almost a year. Oh, then buy, Maximus nodded knowingly, seeing Liam blushing. His son had truly grown up, knowing a bit of his style. Soon, the auction continued as his wives and children bought whatever they fancied. Chapter 135 End of auction. Soon, the auction was coming to an end. Maximus' open spending made his wives and children not embarrassed and bought whatever they wanted. But even so, Maximus only spent less than 1 million high-grade crystals, which is equivalent to 1 billion with his 99% discount. The reason they didn't spend much is that his wives and children were a little sensible. They didn't bid on any item surpassing tier 8. Next to our last auction will be teleportation quotas. Venice smiled. Finally here. I don't know how many teleportation quotas will be released this time. I must get it to expand the family. I don't know if my money is enough. The crowd below grew excited as they heard Venice's said. Teleportation quota is the way to get rich and independent. As mentioned earlier, everything in the arcane continent is basically divided. Unless you are a tier 9, you would need to work your ass off to earn resources. Whether it's crafting potions or hunting treasure, you need to work for it personally. As for planting resources and the like, unless you have a city building order like the one with Maximus, it's not possible. So this teleportation quota is the only way out for these ambitious families and factions. With it, they can find land outside the arcane continent, be their own little lord, and still have easy access to the arcane continent. For the first teleportation quota, the starting bid is 1 billion high-grade crystals. 1.1 billion. 1.5 billion. 2 billion. 3 billion. 5 billion. 8 billion. 10 billion. 15 billion. The bidding became heated all of a sudden. It's time to move, Maximus thought. 30 billion. A VIP bid. We're done. Damn, these VIPs have been holding teleportation quotas every time, leaving us scraps. 40 billion. Seeing that someone was still bidding against him, he smiled. 50 billion. Maximus bid. 55 billion. 58 billion. Maximus said, hiding a cold sweat, this is his all money. But to Maximus' relief, after a few seconds, there are no other bidders. Is there no one else? Going once? Going twice? Sold to VIP 6. Good. Maximus muttered. Fortunately, there was no other VIP to bid with him, otherwise, he was sure to lose. Congratulations, husband. Congratulations, dad. His wives and children congratulated him. At the same time, they were also excited. With this, we can come to our territory whenever we want, Maximus said. That's right. I miss Grandma and Grandpa, Lila said excitedly. I don't know what happened to our previous home, Lily muttered. While they were celebrating, the second teleportation quota was bought by a VIP for 59 billion. The third teleportation quota was also bought by a VIP for 60 billion. The fourth is 62 billion. Basically, the price hovered between 60 to 70 billion. Soon, 10 teleportation quotas were sold, and the people in the VIP room finally stopped bidding. It looked like they also didn't want to incur the wrath of the public and hoard all the teleportation quotas. Maximus expected the competition with the teleportation quotas would not be intense since there was no VIP in the fray. But he was wrong, it became more intense as if the crowd didn't want money. 110 billion. 111 billion. 112 billion. Damn, these people are insane. Hey, this is the sorrow of the week. After all, it's our only chance to catch up to those bigwigs. They knew that they didn't stand a chance against the VIPs. So instead of incurring their wrath and bidding with them, they endured. Now that it was finally their turn, they didn't hold back a bit. Gambling all their family property, they had saved for countless generations. 114 billion. 115 billion. Is there any more? Going once? Going twice? Sold to no. 1,234. Looking at the tragic victory below, Maximus sighed. Fortunately, I was a core student. Maximus' status not only brought him monetary benefits but also unparalleled status. Looking at the crowd below, he understood that no matter how much money one had without corresponding strength and status, it would just be a castle in a mirage that could disappear at the slightest touch. Only power is left. Maximus thought as he clenched his fist. Soon, the auction finished with the 100th teleportation quota. It looks like the people in the VIP section really restrained themselves as they only bought 10. After the auction, the manager from earlier personally brought the items they had won. Here are the items you bought, sir. Thanks. You can just deduct my payment from the item I consigned in the auction. Gladly, the manager smiled and calculated the total, deducting it from the items Maximus had auctioned. This is the remaining magic crystal, the manager said, linking it to the pavilion bank account and transferring the remaining money to Maximus. 13, 123, 564, 238 plus. The high-grade crystal was automatically converted to low-grade crystal in value. I got it. Then I'll ask, sir, about the teleportation quota. Where would you like us to set up the teleportation array? In my territory, the Cursed Continent, Sunburnt Plateau, Maximus said. Then we'll quickly install the teleportation array in your territory. It should take a month, and you can use the teleportation array immediately, the manager smiled. Then I look forward to it. The next day after the auction, their lives returned to normal. His wives went to the Celestial Ascent Path and the Arcana Library to train, while his children dutifully attended school every day. As for Maximus, after he got Doran to cooperate with the people from the Origin Relic Guild, now he was free and had nothing to do. Thinking of his weak strength, Maximus decided to start training. Tintin, tell me where the top elemental pool is, Maximus urged his token little fairy. He only knew about the low elemental pool that was all over the city of Arcana, surging like a lake. As for the middle, high, and top elemental pools, he had no time to explore. It's in the Tower of Arcana, host. Tintin flew out of the token and joyfully said. Oh, so that's it? What about the medium and high elemental pools? They're all in the small world in the Tower of Arcana. Low, medium, and high elemental pool is just the residue that came from the elemental pool, Tintin explained. So the low, medium, and high elemental pools are just the wastewater that comes from the elemental pool? Maximus said with a dark face, thinking that he and his family had enjoyed themselves in a wastewater. Yes, Tintin laughed. Don't worry, host, it's very clean. It's merely that its aura diminishes, so it teared down, Tintin comforted. So that's it, Maximus also sighed in relief. In the Tower of Arcana, elemental world. With the help of Tintin, he quickly navigated his way and came to this small world. With his core student token, there was no cumbersome process, he was directly teleported here. So this is the elemental world, Maximus muttered. This small world was filled with an endless expanse of pools with different elements. Such a good place. I should bring my family sometime. What element should I focus on first? Maximus is currently in Tier 4, which involves refining his mana pathways to an element. However, while others only required 1 or 2 elements, he needed all of them. As his cultivation manual, Gaia's primal genesis becomes more complete with more elements. I should start with fire first, Maximus muttered. The fire element is his main attack spell, although he rarely uses it. It should also be easier, as it's not a rare type of element like time and space. Walking through the fire elemental pool, he ran through the Gaia's primal genesis. Soon, the liquid fire elements flowed through Maximus, encapsulating him. The fire elemental liquid was like water meeting a superhot substance as it evaporated. Maximus became extremely focused, forgetting everything as Gaia's primal genesis ran like an instinct. After a day, the first cycle of the training manual was finished, breaking Maximus' concentration. Maximus breathed with satisfaction. This is what training should feel like. Usually, when he trained, he still needed to sift through the mana he absorbed, purifying it and making it his own. But here, he was just absorbing it like a sponge without doing anything unnecessary. I should completely master the fire element in a year. This, Maximus suddenly thought of something. He was not only going to master one element but over 1,000 of them. Will it take 1,000 years before I advance to Tier 5? Maximus muttered sadly. What's wrong, host? My training is quite slow, Maximus said with a sigh. Slow? Tintin looked puzzled. He just felt that it would only take about a year for Maximus to fully master the fire element and then advance to Tier 5. Was that still slow? I'm practicing Gaia's primal genesis. Gaia's primal genesis? Tintin was shocked. Based on her database, it was an impossible training manual. You should change your training manual quickly, host. Why is that? Although I'm slow, it should be okay. You don't know, based on my database, all those who trained with this manual died from life exhaustion. So? So hurry and change it so you will not die. With your talent, host, reaching Tier 9 should be just a matter of time. By then, you would be immortal and have everything in the world. Don't waste your time on this impossible thing.
How do you know that I will not succeed?
Host, all those who trained with this cultivation manual were once the arrogance of countless epics. So far, only 3 people who trained with this reached Tier 8, but they still died in the end.
Heh, not for me, Maximus smiled.